Hi, I am Marvette. I am a life coach, and today I am going to talk to you about narcissism, or more particular, narcissistic personality disorder. But we don't need to get too technical. I just want to give you my take and how I think about it, because a lot of people go through relationships. A perfect example would be, so Taylor Swift just re-released her Red album, Taylor's version, and the song All Too Well, there's a 10-minute rendition of it, and it's based on a past relationship of hers. And a lot of people love that song. It wasn't like it was formally released as a single or anything, but it ended up being a fan favorite. And I believe that the reason why it ended up being a fan favorite is because people could relate to the lyrics. And if you watched the movie or not, so All Too Well, when she re-released the album, there's a 10-minute film, and I will link it down in the description box. But that video is a perfect representation of what it is like to be in a relationship with someone who is either diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder or have a lot of tendencies of someone who has narcissistic personality disorder. And there's usually like this cycle that the relationship goes in. And if you watch that video, you will kind of see how like it gets really muddled. But because it's 10 minutes, there's only so much you could do. Anyway, so when you first you meet someone who seems very charming. Like you meet someone who they check off all the boxes in your head of like somebody you want to be with. They like say all the right things. They do all the right things. They're really attentive to you. It just seems like they just love talking to you. And they may be like coming on really strong. They may be calling a lot. They may be texting a lot. They may be sending you so many things. And you kind of have this like feeling in your stomach of like, this is a lot, but you don't want to say anything because you're like, well, everybody else that I've dated in the past did not even do half of these. And so I don't want to rock the boat and tell this person that I'm uncomfortable. And so you don't say anything and you're just like, oh, it's just so great. And of course, everyone around you is like, oh, this person is amazing. Where did you find them? Right? Do they have a sibling that I can talk to? And things are great. Pretty quickly, then this person will try to advance the relationship. They will say like, oh, I never met someone like you. I think I found the one. Can we like make this official? Or I want to marry you. Like it's going to be something very... like a very big action, like a very big, bold action that they want to take, right? And you may have been someone who, in the past, you fought so hard for people to fight, to commit to you in relationships. And then here's this person who looks great, great personality, very attentive, very clear about their intentions moving forward. I mean, so clear, in fact, that they're like, we need to get married or we need to move in. Like they want to take a big step with you pretty quickly. As you continue to go on in this relationship, this person will start to do little things or say little things that you can almost dismiss, like in a way of like, you will find yourself questioning, is that weird? No, they didn't mean it that way. Or, oh, that's strange, but no, maybe it's just me. Like you'll find yourself, it could be like something really slight, something very small, right? They may ask very intrusive questions in the name of like getting to know you better, right? They may want you to tell them all about your past relationships and why that didn't work. And every time you tell them a story, they will make sure to be like, oh, I would never do that to you. I am here for you. You don't never have to worry about that. And really what's happening at this point is they're really working to get to know you. So that's true. They are working to get to know you, but not because they're thinking about like, this is going to be a healthy relationship and we're going to continue on. They're thinking about it and like, I need to know everything about this person so I know exactly what buttons to press. And so more time will go on. And as things start to, normalize, the honeymoon period starts to like fade away, you don't mind so much because you're like, oh, I'm just so glad that I finally found the person that I could be with for the rest of my life. I finally found my soulmate, my twin flame, my whatever. And then it will seem like almost like overnight that a big argument will happen, a conflict, maybe they will say, oh, I don't like your friends, or I don't like this family member, like you need to watch out for them. And you won't necessarily take it as like they're doing something bad or mean. You will take it as like, oh, they have my best interest at heart. Like they want to help me. And yeah, I did. I was kind of questioning that friend, or, I was a little bit uncomfortable about that family member. And your whole goal will be to like make sure that that person that you're dating, that they know that you understand where they're coming from and that you don't want to fight with them. You don't want this other person or whatever to come in between you because y'all had such an amazing relationship. You had such a much, like the relationship is amazing. You don't want to rock it. And so you may be able to be like, okay, that was just one fight. We can move on. But then you will start to notice that they become more frequent, like the arguments. And you might question like, why am I messing this up? I need to change. Like I need to work on my stuff so I don't mess up this beautiful relationship. Not knowing that this is all a part of a plan. Not knowing that this person is little by little picking at you, testing boundaries to see how much they can get away with. They are testing to see, do they really know you? Did they gather enough information to push your buttons? And another way to say that is like, did they gather enough information? Did they gain your trust enough? Are you so smitten with them that they can have full control over you? Because the name of this game, in any forms of abuse, and it's particularly an emotional abuse, the name of the game is to have control over another person. And the more that I can have control over you, the more I can get a reaction from you, the more I can get you to do things for me, the more that I can feel good about myself as a narcissist, right? And so you will start to see those arguments pick up. But in the middle of the argument, you will be like, this does not make any sense. Like the argument is dumb. Like you'll be talking to friends or family and they'll be like, no, I think you misunderstood. Like we met this person. They were amazing. Like I just think it's a miscommunication. But you will be the only one who knows how intense the arguments are with your new partner. Like you will feel it, but then you will try to talk yourself out of it because everyone else is like, well, they're amazing. Like it can't be anything wrong. And so if we go back to the Taylor Swift example, there's a point where the audio cuts out, like the music cuts out, and they're in a kitchen and they're fighting. And the argument goes from one point to the next. But overall, you're watching it and you're like, but what the hell is the argument about? Or why is it so intense? And you're like, this is ridiculous. But if you are someone who has lived in a situation like this, you've been in a relationship like this, you know it all too well, all puns intended. You know what that feels like all too well. And there's a name for it. What ends up happening is that as more time goes on, that person essentially becomes someone that you don't even recognize. Like they are more critical. You can't ever do anything right. They nitpick at everything. They don't like any of your friends, any of your family. It seems like you just can't win with this person. But the issue is, the reason why you don't leave or walk away is because you're constantly trying to get back to the person that you knew them to be from the beginning. You're trying to get back to that version of them that you met when they were so perfect and so sweet and so thoughtful and so attentive. You're like, I know that person. That was real. I know that was real. But what you don't understand is the person you're talking to now, the version that Taylor was arguing with in that video or whatever, or the actress, it wasn't Taylor Swift, but the actress, that's the real version of that person. They were just playing a role, but because they were able to say things exactly the way you wanted to hear them and do everything and check off all the boxes, your brain attached to that version of them, and you made them up to be like, you put them on a pedestal. And the reason why it's so difficult to leave these relationships is because, one, you're probably feeling like you're all alone because you probably distanced yourself from a lot of the relationships you had before. People are probably tired of you talking about it, and you feel like this is the only person, like, at least I have something. It might not be perfect, but at least I have something. And your brain just cannot make sense of how can that one person exist at the beginning of the relationship and they no longer exist now. And it's very hard to have to admit to yourself that who you fell in love with, who you thought you were in relationship with, does not exist. And that will be some of the most challenging work that you can ever do. And the only way to get out of this is to not have any contact with them. And I just remember when I was first introduced to that concept of like, you can't have any contact because there's no amount of rationalizing, logic, sense making in the world that is going to be able to get you to the place where you can amicably like leave this. The only way to distance yourself from a manipulative, emotionally abusive person like a narcissist is to go like no contact, is to have no contact, to not talk to them. And if you're in a situation where you have to talk to them, maybe it's a divorce, maybe it's kids, right? Maybe it's a family member. It's going to be best that you keep all forms of communication very short and to the point. And at all possible, have written correspondence, like emails or text, but like even keeping that short. Because their whole purpose is to get a reaction out of you. Their whole purpose is to press your buttons, to get you to respond in some way. No matter if it's a positive or negative response, as long as you respond to them, they know that they still have control. They know that they still get something. That's where they get energy. They feed from you reacting. So the best way to cut that off is to stop reacting. And the best way to stop reacting is to cut off contact. So that is an intro to what it's like to be in a relationship with a narcissist. I will continue to do a series because there's just so much information. And I just remember when I first figured out that narcissistic personality disorder was a thing, I just felt like the whole internet knew my secret. They knew my relationship, and I was the only one who didn't know. And I just know how valuable it was. And so I just want to be able to give back to people so that they could just start to make sense out of a senseless relationship. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I will see you next time. Make sure you subscribe and like, and bye for now.